Hello, my name is Angela Fuller and I am a registered dental hygienist, and this is my second semester in the Health Professions Education Master's Program, and I will be presenting today on our final project, so I hope you enjoy. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Kansas, in southeast Kansas in the Flint Hills, and I moved to Colorado in 2001. I spent 13 years out there, and that's where I got my dental hygiene education. I also have a double major in business and biology, and now pursuing my master's. So I've been practicing dentistry since 2002. I started out as a dental assistant and I wanted to be a dentist, but unfortunately I am not good at math, and so I ended up pursuing a path of dental hygienist, and I have received my expanded functions as well in the state of Missouri, so I'm what they would call an expanded functions dental hygienist. I have two little boys. Cyrus is 8 and Maverick is 6, and they're both playing soccer this season, and we just got a new German Shepherd puppy. Her name's Gabriella, aka Goofy Gabby, and she just turned 5 months old. And then I've got a cranky old Maine Coon cat named Bennett, and we are hoping to get an axolotl for the boys. So I'm way into yoga, being outside. I love being on the river, hanging out with my friends, looking to start a garden this summer, and of course expand my houseplant collection. So as many of you know, I have kind of had a different road and a path to education, and so right now I'm just working full-time clinical hygiene, and hope to return to the education setting and hopefully someday become a program director. So anyway, during this presentation, I am going to introduce you to the course that I chose to evaluate. We will look at 2 different theoretical lenses that I reviewed this course through. Also some educational strategies, how they delivered this technology through the course, looking at some educational modalities, the learning assessment, how they quantified retention of information, and then how it relates to my personal teaching philosophy, and then a few takeaways. So the topic that I chose was a 3-hour clinical continuing education course presented by Dynamic Dental Educators, and it was basically just called Periodontal Health Maintenance. And so the course that I chose to evaluate was from a platform that my work provides. It's called Relias, and that's where they do all their mandatory training through. They assign us different courses that we have to take within a certain timeline, and then you have to pass those courses to be cleared of your homework, basically. And if you don't get those done, then there's consequences as far as like write-ups and things like that for not being compliant. So I found this course, like I said, through the Relias platform that my Federally Qualified Health Center provides for us for continuing our education. So this course I chose was specific to what I do as a dental hygienist, and I just wanted to really evaluate it for its content, for its validity, and reliability as far as is this information accurate, and are they assessing us in this course accurately. So basically it was a 28-page printout, and it had a table of contents and a reference page, and at the very end, once you've completed your reading, there's an exam that you can take online, and you have to pass with at least a 70% to pass it. And the funny thing is it did not even give you the answers. It just told you what your score was. So I don't know what the right answer is now, because there was no follow-up as far as an explanation. So I'll get to that later, though. So I chose 2 different theoretical lenses to evaluate this course through. The first I chose was the essentialism perspective, and then I also chose the cognitive constructivism. This being a very cut and dry, straightforward, read the information and disseminate it and test on it. I felt that was very cohesive with the essentialism theory as far as testing basic knowledge. The emphasis being more on, you know, the back to basics facts. It's very direct and subject centered. The other perspective that I chose to evaluate was the cognitive perspective, as far as what are we reading and do we believe it? That's kind of the angle that I took. So two different, very contrasting lenses to look through, as far as take it for face value and what it is versus do you trust this information? So that's kind of the devil's advocate that I was playing with my theoretical lenses. With our first lens, we talk about the essentialism view. And so, like I was discussing, you know, the essentialism lens is more of a streamlined, condensed content. The information that is in the course is very surface. I found this course to be kind of generic. If you are just coming into dentistry and don't really know a lot, I would see this as being helpful as far as key points. But if you are a hygienist and you know your stuff, I found a lot of false and incorrect information, out-of-date information as far as the content in this particular course. So again, with the essentialism lens, you're basically learning from deficiencies and mistakes through practice exams. So that's what this was read the 28 pages, take the exam, and see how you score. And then based on your answers, where you need to strengthen your learning. Again, like I said, the post-test did not reveal the actual true answers. So we'll get back into that later. But overall, the content was pretty well structured as far as following along and being able to digest and retain the information. But like I said, it was kind of as I call it, the bare ass minimum of information if you were being introduced to this for the first time. Not really stimulating any critical thinking or drawing key concepts together. It was more just here's the information that we think you should know about this subject, and do what you want to with it. So the other theoretical lens that I chose to evaluate this course through was through the cognitive lens. And so this is kind of the more advanced learners, how they would probably approach this course, you know, being a critical thinker, trying to draw those key concepts from the content that's given. So instead of just saying, here are some examples of home care modifications that we would suggest for a patient, taking that at face value versus, okay, well, what's wrong with this patient? Why do they need modifications? What modifications match their needs best? Definitely, it did not encourage any type of critical thinking or connecting concepts in this course. And so as a cognitive thinker, like I said, someone who's more educated in this field and well-versed in the content would kind of probably find this course is not a great course. That's a polite way to say that. So again, it's a generic course content made for the masses with a wide variety of audience that's non-specific. So that was something I thought was very interesting as far as my perception of the content, coming from a platform that is for federally qualified health centers. Multiple other facilities and sites use this platform, and any dental, medical, or behavioral health professional can take any of these electives. Mostly, dental would take dental, but sometimes people want to know about other stuff. So, kind of coming in with that in mind as far as the audience, that's why I chose the two different lenses of, the essentialism versus the cognitive, because to me, the essentialism is more of a just coming in, taking it at its face value, versus the cognitive, like, what is this information really trying to tell me? Is there anything new in here that I didn't know? And is this information accurate and up to date? And so then we moved into the educational strategy, which was very heavily outcome based. Like I said, basically it was read this 28 pages, take the test, and see how you do as far as information retention. So the course actually did have some objectives listed, which I put on this slide. And so again, the objectives are very generic, And, you know, having read these and read through the course, they do coincide vaguely. They're not very clear, well-defined objectives. And so, you know, another issue that I would foresee as far as tightening up this course, if I was to use it in my future, would be to redesign the objectives to match the content better. And so after the 28 pages of reading, there was the assessment afterwards. And so I actually was able to snip it and cut and paste it in so we could actually view what it looks like. So they definitely describe the parameters of the exam. It's 10 questions. You have to pass it at a 70% rate. You can take it as many times as you need to get that 70%. And so this is kind of the standard platform for how this Relias tests accuracy of their information. And so further in the assessment, I was able to capture the images of the actual test questions. And so basically they're all true or false, which is, you know, not another great strong way to assess information accuracy and retention, but I found the questions to be a little bit vague, of course, and a little ambiguous. Knowing as much information as I do know, I tend to overthink things. And so these questions, I feel, were not a great, not very great. I don't know how to say that a better way. I think that there could have been much better questions asked to really solidify that the learner met the objectives as far as the content. And again, just a couple more slides of the actual assessment part of this course when they had the 10 test questions, and then afterwards they have a little bit of like a post self-assessment almost, like how well did you think this course was? Do you think the questions were well phrased? Those kind of things. And they did offer some areas for feedback in relation to the course. And then, of course, you have to affirm that you are who you are, and then they give you your CE. So I got a nice little certificate that I get to print out and put in my file. But, you know, the biggest thing was the technology, very straightforward. All the content was just placed on the platform. So you just click the tab that you want to learn about. It brings up the content, read the content, click out of it, brings you up to the post-exam. Take the post-exam, and then do the self-assessment afterwards. It's all hard copy if you want the paper so that you can reference and read and make notes. And then, of course, you still can, if you print the hard copy out, you have that to use for the test. If you just do it online, you can't toggle back and forth, so it would just be all from memory, but they do allow you to print it out. It's asynchronous learning. You can do this at any time, anywhere, any place. You can take it as many times as you want to get the continuing education credit. So how did this course really align with my personal teaching philosophy? It does not at all. I am not a cut and dry, black and white, like true or false type of teacher. I really have a nurturing and humanistic approach, and this was very much not my normal style of teaching, to where you just barf out information and regurgitate an answer. So there's so much missed opportunity for really deep connections of content. Dental hygiene is a lot more than just this is this and this is that. It's how do I take care of you the best to meet your needs so that you can at home meet your needs to keep your mouth healthy. So I also found in the content that they were very surface on a lot of things that could have really been broadened and expanded to make those deeper connections. But then they went really deep into like antibiotics used for periodontal therapy, which is kind of a, they're kind of moving away from that in a bit. And also it's very deep information for a very surface general class. That's the stuff that like doctors need to know, not like someone who's just taking this course, as far as specific antibiotics, regimens, dosages, all that stuff. Like that did not need to be in this course. They could have really made some better connections as far as why you would prescribe someone for a 3-month recare interval versus a 4-month versus a 6-month. What parameters lead you to diagnose, you know, periodontal disease over gingivitis versus a regular cleaning. Again, this is all pretty deeper information if you're trying to make a very general course. I just felt like the content was a little off as far as the things that as a general course could have really been expanded to be more beneficial, and then what they chose to expand on as far as the antibiotics and things like that not being really helpful for someone who's just coming in to learn about this. So that's just kind of my take. You know, also the test, it's like pass or fail, 70% or better to pass. It did not give you the answers, so you really don't know what you missed and why. And so, you know, I would have created basically a synopsis for each question as far as why this was true or why this is false, pulled from the content so that it backs the validity and reliability of the post-exam. So takeaways that I found as far as this little presentation, creating a very generic course for an unknown audience is very difficult as far as what to put in for the content. And so you know, picking your topics, your subject topics, and ensuring that you're not going too deep and you're not staying too surface to really hit a wide target audience. And then making sure your content is up to date and that it's research and evidence-based backed, because like I said, I found several topics in this course that were not up to date. They were talking about gingival irrigation with chlorhexidine being the standard of care, and it's not anymore. And that has been several years since that information has been released. So again, it's a general course. They probably haven't updated anything in a long time, but I would definitely make this course more interactive instead of just a 28-page book to read and then test out on it. You know, they could have put nice graphics and videos and you know, interactive dialogue to really make the learner step outside of the reading and draw some connections to what's going on. So read and regurgitate does not really work in the real world. So having a few more like case studies or what would you do in this circumstance would have been very helpful. So I hope you've enjoyed my presentation, and if you have any questions about anything, feel free to email me. I also put the list of resources that the actual program that I chose listed for their references. So thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.